This episode is brought to you by Monkey Nutrition. I'm a big Ice T fan.
Me too.
And he was taking pictures with fans. He's known always as being really cool with his fans. And he said, something to the tune of, I do it the old-fashioned way. I make fans one at a time.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I was just wondering what you think about that. Do you think that a sudden acceleration in a career is sometimes will be followed by a sudden descent? When you talk to these young artists like you're talking about, is it just like, look, this is a grind. This is about putting the time in, and it's not about instant fame?
When you get to the top, there's nowhere else to go. So why are you in a rush to get to the top? It's the experience of getting, it's like saying you're going to learn everything there is to learn. You're never going to learn everything. But the beauty is in training yourself to be able to understand more, to experience more, to be sympathetic, to be empathetic, to be more knowledgeable. It's a journey. It's like the pursuit of happiness. People think that happiness is a place you have to go. No, it's not. I'm sat here with Brian right now. I'm happy. Life's tough. Tomorrow something might happen that makes me upset, but I go, you know what? I can be happy because I was sat with Brian last night and I was happy, and that's what fuels me particularly. So to believe in happiness, or to believe in that. And for me, it's not really happiness, it's fulfillment. Because who's to say that happiness is right and sadness is wrong? You can't really say that. Some people, I was actually fueled by sadness to write my album, for example, by heartbreak. We need it as artists.
Some of the best albums.
Yeah, there you go.
Gwen Stefani's breakthrough album was all about heartbreak.
Exactly. With the guy in the band,
bass player,
wasn't it? Yeah. So really, people can't be confused about it. There's no rush to get that. And again, you have to enjoy the journey. So I'm saying, of course, have landmarks within that make you happy, that make you feel like you've achieved something, that make you feel fulfilled. But it's not a do or die thing. It's an experience. You have to fill your time somehow. And what's the rush, man?
That's well said. What's the rush? It's interesting because people think that famous people and rich people don't have problems. And you hang out with all these people all the time, and they have just as many problems as everyone else does.
Sorry to interrupt you, Brian, but coming back to the Ice T thing, it's funny you say that because I used to say, we haven't got the resources of a major label, but what I can do is I can change it one club at a time, one festival at a time. So every time we performed, I'd say that's how we do it. That's how we spread the message, as opposed to, when people have more resources at their beck and call, or, money, they can proliferate easier. But yeah, sorry to come back to that.
Just to go back to that theme, I agree, and I think you have to earn them one at a time, and that's what Ice was saying. And even with the show at London Real, when we started off like really basic, and it's just like each episode gets out there, and people are like, okay, we see what you're doing. And funny enough, I just read an article. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called 1,000 True Fans, and it was written a few years ago. It's a fascinating article, especially for an up and coming any kind of artist. And the theory is if you can get 1,000 true fans, and this is a fan that will buy any album that you make, that will drive 100 miles to watch you perform. If you can get 1,000 of those, and say they spend roughly $100 on your material every year, then you can live on. You should be able to live on $60,000 a year and be an artist. And so the idea is, if you can just think about those 1,000 true fans, don't think about the million. Just think you need 1,000, which is it's a doable number.
Absolutely.
And just concentrate on those. That once you get the 1,000, then you can be artistic and free and create the rest of your life. And by getting those, you'll focus on the correct message and everything you should do that will scale to more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're not making money off record sales these days. That's not how we're making our money. We make our money off syncs, off touring, off merchandise. So unless you're Lady Gaga or Nicki Minaj or someone like that, you're not really seeing any surplus revenue from your record sales, from your album sales. So we have to do it that way. We have to do it in a way that, I'd have to write for other people. I have to maybe do a show that I wouldn't necessarily like to do, but then equally by doing it, I'm going to gain a couple of fans, like you say. And it's about finding a balance within that. I'm very lucky to do what I love for a living, but it's by no means a given thing that you should, or that what you do for a living defines you necessarily. It's about making it more of your personal role in life is about what you're here to do, as opposed to whether you're a doctor or a street cleaner or a teacher or a musician. We're lucky that we can do what we do for a living. But again, it doesn't come without costs. It comes at it can be isolating, it can be lonely. It's stressful in terms of output when people are depending on you to you know, to reach a certain target or to perform in a certain way and it's the highs are high and the lows are lower because you're doing what you love for a living.
Don't miss London Real. Subscribe now. This week on London Real, we have the English rapper, poet, and journalist, Akala.
Hate by the pound surrounds my reflection. I do this for my own protection.
If I didn't go to Pan-African Saturday School, if I didn't grow up in the Hackney Empire, if I didn't listen to Wu-Tang Forever or read the autobiography of Malcolm X when I was 9, would I be the person I am today? Probably not.
One too many man that could have been doctors end up spending the whole life boxed up.
Hip-hop was my life. It was something I lived. I loved interacting with it. I wrote lyrics every day. I was in battles.
Cause to me, all they do is breed conflict.
First time I saw someone get stabbed, I was 12, and it was a little poke. It was a meat cleaver in the back of a guy's head. I had other teachers that felt that a person from my racial, cultural, economic background, and certainly from my socio-economic background, should not have been top of the class. These were guys who were doing well in the street, but they'd spent so much of their life in and out of prison, etc. But they were like, you don't want to be like us. You know, you're clever. In fact, if you drop out of school, we're going to give you a hiding.
Yeah, they say you are British, and that lovely patriotism they feed you. But in reality, you have more in common with immigrants than with your leaders.
If the music is good enough, if the visual is good enough, if your online interaction is decent, you can keep your integrity and have a career.
If we're honest, true strength is the strength to be honest.
Ultimately, any power structure in the world wants to stay powerful.
On Sunday, London Real presents Akala. Knowledge is power.
It's fear, but at 20, you can't admit it's fear.